सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Repeat after me. We are in the third Anuvaka, second line. Namah Kakubhaya Nishangine Stenanam Pataye Namo। नमः ककुभाय निषंगिणे स्तेनानां पतये नमो। From here on, for a couple of sentences, more than couple of sentences, we will hear a totally different aspect of Bhagavan Shiva. Salutations to that Lord. Which Lord? Kakubhaya. Kakubhaya, there are various meanings. One of the most prominent meanings is the one who is very prominent, is like the peak to refer to, or the person who is great. This is one simple meaning. Kakubhaya, the one who is great. Why is he called great? Ka means all the deities, Indra, Varuna, Agni, all these deities, including the name in the Amara Kosha for the Atma is Ka. Kakubhaya, that which empowers everything, every deity to function, therefore is known as the greatest among all of them. Another reason why he is called Mahadeva. Among the Devas he is called the Mahadeva. Kakubhaya. Nishangine. Nishangine, the one who holds Khadgavate Namaha. Nishangine, the one who is holding a sword in his hand. Stenanam Pataye Namaha. Stenanam Pataye Namaha, the Lord of thieves who steal under the cover of night or disguise. The reason we have to define each one of them, each one of these varieties, is in a few sentences from now, different varieties of such thieves we will come across. Stena, that one who steals under the cover of night or in disguise. He is called Stena. Stenanam Pataye Namaha, the Lord of especially this kind of thieves. When you hear this, the first time when I read this about 20-21 years ago, when I was hearing, I said, it is a strange way to worship the Lord. Stenanam Pataye Namaha. And then vanchate parivanchate stayunam pataye namo namaha. What kind of God are we worshipping? Let us look into the meaning. I have already said that Ka means all deities. Kakusthanam bhati yasmat, that which illumines or that which gives the power for these deities to illumine. Therefore, he is called Kakubhaya. Because of whose presence there exists power in them, there exists authority in them. Sometimes, it happens like in the picnic or so there is a huge line. So one particular picnic, I very clearly remember. Picnic comes with Holi, and that particular Holi picnic time, it was really cold, but that doesn't stop us from celebrating. So everybody started bringing out the colors, and just wishing that they will not bring out water. Well, that's wishful thinking. So finally one of these kids brings out water, starts pouring, and I am like their target practice. Running by here and there, if they find me, they'll just throw some color or some water or something, and by the end of those 1.5 to 2 hours, and right from my bones I was feeling the shiver. The weather was really cold. So I quickly asked one of these kids to come and said, "You see that tea stall there, that huge line?" Everybody was feeling cold. I said, "Can you get me a cup of coffee, tea?" So he went in, and he said they shooed me away saying I should come in line. So I said, tell them the keyword. Swami ji ke liye hai. As soon as he said that, instead of sending in the smaller quantities, they came with a jug in a bigger glass. So the same kid, when he went with the authority, there was a recognition. Otherwise, there is no recognition. See, this particular aspect of that Paramatma, he comes as the Yaksha. This I am talking about Kenopanishad. So there was this Yaksha. Before the Yaksha comes in, there was this Deva Asura Sangrama. There was this huge battle between, always there is a Deva Asura Sangrama. All the Asuras attacked Indra, and Indra escaped, and then he re-attacked and reclaimed his Indraloka and chased away all the Asuras, and they had a party. They had won their territory back. This is like the history repeats itself. Even in that world, it's a constant repeat. Sometime or the other, these people go attack and they get. So Indra again won his Indraloka back, and he threw a party. And to celebrate and recognize all those who had really worked hard in re-establishing Indraloka. So as you have seen, you may have seen in parties, there are all these little groups. At least when I go to the Indian setup, even not a party, even Satyanarayan Katha or anything, after a while you will see that all ladies are migrating into one room, all gents migrate into another room, kids of younger age migrate into one space, and the kids of older age migrate into a totally different space. And within them there are smaller groups, each one talking around one topic. So there was Vayu, Agni, the various such gods, deities who had helped. They were toasting and boasting themselves. If not for me, this war would not have been won. What do you think? I was there, right there at that moment, and in that crucial moment, if I had not done this, we would not have won this war. No wonder why Indra is throwing this party. They were all boasting about themselves. As they were boasting, there is this Yaksha who comes and stands. And you may try this at your own risk. Go to a totally new territory and pick somebody who looks feeble than you, smaller than you. A warning there on पहले से. And then after you have picked your choicest experiment, then start staring at them. Don't give away any feelings, just cold stare. Piercing into their eyes. They move their eyes away, you keep following them. Try it at your own risk. So Indra's party, and there was somebody who was waiting there, and he was watching Indra very intensely, this party. So he says, Vayave idam abravit. Indra calls Vayu and he says, can you go just check? And Vayu goes and he introduces himself and I am Mr. Vayu, do you know? And he gives his aliases, the people also call me this. So the natural tendency should be that in a polite conversation, that when somebody introduces their name, you acknowledge back by introducing yourself. And this Yaksha in turn, what does he do? He looks at this Vayu and says, so? You say that you are Mr. Vayu, so? I can blow away this entire universe, what do you think? So this Yaksha looks at him and says, blow away universe. ठीक है. So he pulls out a blade of grass, places it in front of Mr. Vayu, and he says, he doesn't even speak to him. He says, ठीक है, you are bragging too much that you can blow away this entire universe. Try blowing away this blade of grass. And this Vayu tries, and he fails miserably. So Indra asks him, he just puts his head down and goes to one side. And he says, Agni, जाके देख तो आ कौन है? So he sends Mr. Agni now. Now Agni also says, Aham Agni, alias Jataveda. Before he could ask, who are you? Yaksha bursts his bubble. He says, so, if you are Agni, what can I do? I can burn this entire universe. He says, same blade of grass, same test for you also. Try. Try burning this blade of grass. And he tries everything. There is no effect, there is no impact on it. The first time he feels so belittled, and he also puts his head down like the sunflower and the sunset time. Have you seen the sunflower garden? It's beautiful. As the sun rises, it turns towards that sun and then follows him, and as in the west he sets trying. So Mr. Agni also comes back as a not even a sunflower at a sunset, it is murjha hua sunflower. Ekdam dried, withered away sunflower, he comes back. He doesn't even look at Indra because he has failed. Now Indra goes there. He doesn't even give him the opportunity for an interview. Is about as a ko sauiti, who are you? And he just vanishes. And as he vanishes, there is a bright light, effulgent light which he has never seen. So Indra can come back and brag. Yeah, I went, he vanished, bhagya. But the exit was such a glowing one that it set him thinking, who is this? Then in his tapas, he understands, he finds that this yaksha is none other than that Paramatma himself, who had taken that form to put them in their place, saying, hey, if I were not there, you would not have been winning anything. So focus always on that aspect and not on your bragging. So all these deities, all these gods, where do they get their power, where do they get their authority, where do they get their validity of existence? It is because of that Paramatma, Kakubhaya. Define yaksha. Yaksha, Kinnara, Kimpurusha, these are from a different realm, and yaksha's job is they are almost as fierce looking like a rakshasa, as though, but they are very powerful and they manage, they work for our Kubera. So they hold the finances, yaksha. The many of them also are very skilled in singing. Yaksha, Kinnara, Kimpurusha, they are very good in singing. That is why in Karnataka, the folk lore is called Yaksha Gana. So these yakshas are the singers as well. More qualified than these yaksha in singing and such folklore are the Gandharva. They are amazing, absolutely great singers. But yaksha, they either are into the financial side, on the time pass side they also sing. So they are from the Swargaloka. These are the yaksha. And usually they are in such different shape and form that you can't really place them. Kidhar se aaye hain? They are totally different shape and form. That is why when Yama also takes the yaksha rupa in testing the Pandavas before allowing them drink that pond of water, so he also takes this strange looking, weird looking form, and he claims himself to be as the yaksha. Yes, Gandharvas are more powerful than yaksha and more beautiful looking also than the yaksha. मैंने कभी देखा नहीं है. It's just hand me down kind of a knowledge or a piece of information which I am sharing. Now, so to all these different deities, he is the one who gives power, authority and validity of existence. Therefore, Kakubhaya. There is another meaning which goes very well with Bhagwan Shiva. Kakut means the hump of the bull, Nandi Bhagwan. Kakut. Kakubhaya, the one who is seated on the top of that hump, like he's sitting on the top of, and sitting there he is glowing in his all effulgence. Kakubhaya. Nishangine, sitting there, what is he doing? He is wielding a sword, sitting on a high pinnacle, maybe on the that highest point he is riding his favorite vehicle, which is Nandi Bhagwan, and having seated there, he is holding a sharp sword. Nishangine Khadgavate. Khadgavate, the one holding the khadga. Stenanam pataye namaha. What a description of the Lord. Yesterday also there was one such humorous one. Dhavate namaha. The one who is constantly running. And today he is called the Stenanam pataye namaha. Stenanam pataye, very simple meaning. That when even people as low as a thief turns around and makes a U-turn in his life, Bhagwan blesses them as well. So somebody who is known to be a thief. See, these are not the people who would come into broad daylight and do stuff. They usually do it in some kind of disguise, some kind of night mask, and then it's only later that you realize you have lost what you had. One day I was traveling with Swami Maheshanandji. He was our ashram in charge. Then he was still Shiva Chaitanya, but he was traveling, and we were both going through the Bombay local to buy something for Shivaratri Puja. We got off the Bombay local and went into the shop, gave them the order. Yeah, it was a well-known shop, and we had to give the money to them. Opened that little pouch that he was carrying. Gayab. The pouch is still hanging on his hand. It was about some 60,000 rupees or something, big bills. And instead they placed a equal weighing, some kind of a piece of wood or something, that he didn't realize the difference at all. And there was a nice slit, 3 places there was a nice slit, one to pick, one to push, and one to pull the money out. Now, all this was designed and very well done. Probably somebody must have been talking to or looking at, smiling, and he must have been doing something underneath. Pata bhi nahi chala. People go to, at least that is what I had changed my footwear from. The first 2 years after my initiation, Brahmacharya initiation, my foot size is 11.5, and having that foot size, shoes or chappal back in India was like a rarity to find. I would find one and go to the yajna to some temple. By the time I come back, this will be gone. सब लोग भगवान को पूजने आते हैं, चप्पल को पूजने भी आते हैं. स्तेना नाम. Or suddenly there are people who they keep watching you when you are going on a vacation or something. They see, and then they make sure that they break in and clean up everything. Stenanam. These are all different kinds of stena, that category. Those who, they are the thieves who steal under the shade of darkness, in the night, or in disguise, that you would not even know that they are thieves. Even such people, that Bhagavan is ready to accept them. provided they make a complete U-turn. Oh yeah, when we read this, there is one ray of hope. And we have seen this particular story, in the Shivaratri Puja, Puja Mahatmya. There is a story that there is this thief who is sitting on a bilva tree, and just out of hunger, he was so hungry, but he didn't have anything. In that frustration of hunger, he would pull this bilva leaf, like you would pull your grass, and when you sit in the lawn and do things, meddle with it. So he was pulling that bilva leaf and then throwing, and underneath there was a Shiva Linga. How convenient. Believe me, I have climbed bilva tree and I have thrown bilva leaf on the Shiva Linga which was underneath, and I am still here. How convenient that. Maybe I was not a thief like him. The pre-qualification for that is you have to be a thief, thorough thief. And then you go on a bilva tree and unintentionally throwing the bilva leaf on that Shiva Linga, he gets mukti. When I read such stories, I feel so jealous about. And the other day I was watching Shekhar Sen's Surdas, and it seems his mother gave him little Krishna idol, and as soon as she gave Krishna idol, he started conversing, and he started conversing back. बड़ा आसान लगता है, it's so easy for them. Sustenanam pataye namaha, simple meaning. A little on a serious level. All that this jiva has got is his avidya, and that which is born out of avidya, which is his ahankara. That is what jiva has. So when the Lord sees that there is some hope in this jiva, so what does he do? Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Asanga shastra. So the sword that he is holding, what kind of sword is it? It is a sword of dispassion, vairagya. That vairagya is born. That moment is created, that opportunity is created wherein that vairagya is born. Asanga shastrena, dridhena chitva. And what is snatched? The jiva's ahankara, jivatva, and the mula, the root cause, which is avidya. All of them are stolen away. Stolen away when? God knows when. It is removed. Stenanam pataye namaha. So who is the stena here? The jiva. He keeps stealing away from one experience to the other. And here comes the Lord striking with his sword, cutting all the moha pasha. There was another Mahatma who, in a different context, was giving an amazing explanation. Though this explanation was given for Krishna, I am borrowing it here to supplement it for Shiva as well. So when the seeker goes to the Lord in complete surrender, in complete faith and surrender, he goes there with the bhava of dasoham. Da shabda apahritaha tena panchakoshapaharina. So this dasoham, with that attitude, the sadhaka goes there offering himself, and what does the Lord do? He steals away the word the. he steals it away. So what does he steal away actually? Da shabda apahritaha tena panchakoshapaharina. All the misidentifications with the body, mind and intellect, the ahankara, the jivatva, the avidya, da shabdena, da shabda represents all that. And what does the Lord do? He snatches that away. And what does he leave the sadhaka with? Soham bhavena. He leaves that sadhaka with saha aham and elevates him to be merged with the Lord himself. Not to have any more that separation. This is the secret of his stenatva. Stenatva, the ability to snatch. In fact, we keep listening through Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavat, various other scriptures, constantly guiding us, constantly enumerating the same concept over and over and over again. Drop your attachments, develop your discriminative capacity, which establishes yours in your heart so deep that it expresses as vairagya. Give up all attachments to the world, to the worldly things of beings, the situations, experiences, time, place, with body, mind and intellect, develop that vairagya. But do we develop it? A little bit of this, how will it hurt? A little bit of that, how will it hurt? So by the end of the day, we are like spinning around, we have spun around ourselves. Such a thick mesh. Therefore, I like what Tulsidas ji says. He says, Harahu kalesa vikara. Why we have been trying to remove this vikara? God knows from when we have been initiated. But it's so frustrating that the more you keep removing, it is like if you have gone to a river or when you want to get some good water, uncontaminated water. So what you do is on the sands, so you dig and the water starts gathering, oozing. So you start collecting that water. Or you have gone to certain temples. One particular temple that I remember immediately is Trichy. There is one temple called Jambukeshwara. Right under the Shivalinga, there is water continuously oozing. You keep taking that water away and it keeps oozing. Our vikara is like that, to make a striking impact. It is like a never-ending pus of the wound. You keep cleaning it up, and it keeps oozing again. It is a very frustrating feeling. That years after years after years, you keep focusing on dhyana, bhakti, the jnana, vairagya. And somewhere this little, it comes frustratingly. How much more, Lord? I am done. Please, harahu kalesa vikar. Snatch it away. The thief actually is the jiva, who is identified with the ahankara, constantly keeps jumping and running away into this worldly thing. The thief, stena, is him. Running away from what? Stealing away from what? Atma Saukhyam. Atma Saukhyam is the great bliss which is right within. And Jiva is jumping away from it. to that thief of the thief which is the jiva, though he is constantly trying to work at himself, one fine day, Bhagwan, he just comes in and removes those layers. Okay, this is something we did not know. So we can wait for that Lord to come and do whatever he has to do. Even for that Lord to come and snatch that jivatva away, that jiva had to have done enough punya to be at that right moment to acquire that blessings of the Lord. Na kakubhaya nishangine stenanam pataye namaha. Our Skandadeva, he says, Deveshaya namo mahavrusha kakut bhagadhirudayate prodyat mahapraharapatave चौर्याय लीलात्मनां चोराणाम अभिभक्त वत्सलतया संरक्षकाय अथवा तेषां श्रेष्ठतमाय सर्वहरणात् अन्ते नमः. Salutations to that Devesha who is seated on Mahavrusha Kakud Bhagadi Rudhayate. He is seated on the hump of the Nandi Bhagavan. Prodyat Mahaprahara Patave, and he is also holding a sword in his hand. Choryaya Leelatmanam. Skandadeva, his interpretations sometimes are mostly not Vedantic but more of a devotional kind. He had come, Bhagavan Shiva had come to test Parvati ji when she was doing tapasya, not when she was sati. After sati dahana, then there is the Parvati avatara. In that Parvati avatara, he has been told by the Sapta Rishis, he has been told by various people saying that, you know, poor thing, this Parvati has been meditating on you, doing tapasya for you. Having heard, not that he did not know, having heard from lot of them, let me go test her. There, finally, what does he do? He finally steals her heart away. So here he is referring to that. Chauryaya Leelatmana. He steals away the heart of the devotee who is dedicating himself or herself in this case as Parvati ji. Choranamapi, or other meaning, Vaistena, Choranamapi Bhaktavatssalataya Samrakshakaya. Even in those thieves, to create a goodness, a change in them and bring them towards himself. Samrakshakaya. And then he says, Tesham Sreshtatamaya Sarvaharanadante Namaha. And you are the greatest among all thieves. Why? Sarvaharanat ante namaha. Finally, when the devotee, having tried every which way, helplessly raises his hands. He is saying, "Oh Lord, come protect me. All that which I could have done, I have tried, I am done." Like the Gajendra. Even the Gajendra, what did he tried for years and a long time. This crocodile was really powerful. Finally, from that lake, he pulls one flower and he says, "Oh Lord, anyatha sharanam nasti tvameva sharanam mama." There is nothing more, there is no one more. I have tried every other way. And I don't think I can win my way through. You are the only one that can protect me. When that humility strikes in, because even on the path of this sadhana, there is a lot of accomplishments that we can boast. I used to not even have time to sit and do puja, and now I sit for 35 minutes, I do puja every day. Don't we see people bragging? How long do you do japa? I do 10 malas every day. What a 30 maar khan. And there are even at a very peripheral levels, there are people who say, Swamiji, my son-in-law has become very spiritual these days. Acha, kya hua? He has given up eating meat on 2 days of the week. That is also spirituality. So before those 2 days and after those 2 days, double the quantity of those 2 days worth. Dawa kya khata hoga? Right? In anticipation, 2 days I'm not going to eat anymore. And after he is done with this 2 days non-meat eating spiritual bout, 2 दिन से नहीं खाया था, दबा के खाओ. As long as the one who is doing this sadhana keeps claiming the sadhana as a feather in the cap, we don't see that seamless flow of his grace. Even that doership has to be done with. That is why Vidura gives a very beautiful advice. He says, Vidura in Mahabharata, so he says, Yena tyajasi tatyaja. That with whom you are, trying to give up everything, that identity, that entity has to be given up totally. Stenanam pataye namaha. Now moving forward, this is also a similar kind. So repeat after me. Namo nishangina ishudhimate taskaranam pataye namo. Namo nishangina ishudhimate taskaranam pataye namaha. Nishangine, Nishangine, the one who is equipped with the weapon. What kind of weapon? Ishudhimate, he has got quiver full of arrows. So what is the weapon that he is holding? He is holding a bow and the arrows ready. Nishangina. The earlier meaning of Nishangina was that he was holding a sword, but here he is holding a bow and arrow. Ishudhimate. And how is he? He is ready, fully equipped with lots and lots of arrows in that quiver. And what is he worshipped as? Taskaranam pataye namaha. Who is a taskara? Taskara is a dacoit. So the lord of dacoits, our salutations and pranams to him. Taskarana. So the Lord, Nishangina, Nishangine, Ishudhimate. In the original mantra, there is only Nishangina Ishudhimate. But when you take the word, then it has to be read as Nishangine Ishudhimate. Because wherever there is A followed by E, A of the earlier word drops. This is the Sandhi rule. So, Nishangine Ishudhimate. So, the Lord who has, now we have to take you back all the way to the beginning of Rudram. You remember? There also he was shown as Rudra Yadatavine Kshetranam. No, not Rudra Yadatavine. Shiva Sharavya Yatavataya no Rudramrudaya Yate Rudra Shiva Tanura Ghora Papakashini Shiva Taya Nastanuva Shantamaya Girishantabhichakashihi. So here he says Shiva Sharavyaya Tavataya no Rudramrudaya. Yeah, fifth line. Tavataya no Rudramrudaya. So it seems like Bhagavan is angered, and in that anger he has taken the bow and arrow. But in fact, what is he doing? He has taken that bow and arrow to protect. And what is the greatest protection? The greatest protection is not from the external dacoits, the internal dacoit, which snatches away all our peace, all our happiness, all our joyous moments. And what is that entity called? Ahankara. So, Taskaranam, what does this Ahankara do? Snatches away from every single moment its peace and joy. In its own wrong patterns of anxieties and past experiences which cloud its present experience. So you may be eating a very nice dish, but then I hear that every husband's complaint eating however well made is ठीक बना है, माँ जैसे नहीं बना है. It's okay, but it is not as good as what my mom used to make. Even in that moment wherein you could relish that moment, even that moment is snatched away. Because what we do is the ego, it constantly Ahankara compares with the past, clouds the present and anxious for the future. And it robs away that moment of joy in each experience. Taskaranam pataye namaha. This Ahankara, you can remove it in two ways. Either by completely annihilating it, or redefine the Aham and the Akara of that Aham in the biggest way. Either by accepting the entire totality and being one with everything, or being nothing. Either be a devotee or be a jnani. Because in either case, they are not too different. The one who gives this identity up alone can establish that oneness with this entire universe, and the one who establishes that connection does not find the need for that petty little ego to exist. Either or. Either you start from this side to end in that side, or start from that side to end in this side. The net result, the totality of experience is the same. Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. As we go to the next mantra, it gets even more interesting. Yeah, let me go to the next mantra. There you will have a range of it. Let me come to the next mantra. There is a range of it waiting. So once I go through the range, then you will see the differences. So the next mantra says, Namo Vanchate Parivanchate Stayunam Pataye Namo. So here there are three kinds of thieves. Vanchate, the one who deceives you. Deceives you is not a regular habit, was pressured with various environments, and when somebody is very hungry, and when somebody is very hungry and in that pangs of hunger, you have tried every which way to get a job, or ask somebody, they just shooed you away, you didn't get the opportunity. The hunger, pangs of hunger is so tremendous, you finally you knock something out, put them in some kind of a nice environment, and then you just snatch something away and ran. Once, because of the pressure of the environment. Parivanchate, the one who steals, the one who cheats, time and again. The first one is not an occasional cheater. It is the circumstances, he had no other choice, he cheats. The second one is a pro, habitual cheater. Constantly does cheats on various things. Stayunam is a more qualified. See, when we started with what was the first one? Stena, then Taskara, then Vancha, then Parivancha. Now Stayu and all these earlier ones have no connection with you. They just commit that crime and go away. Somebody who steals, somebody who is a dacoit, somebody who cheats regularly. Now who is a Stayu? A Stayu is that person who becomes one with you, like joins your firm, joins your endeavor, joins your effort, and then without your knowledge siphons away your funds and assets and various things for their own benefit. They are called Stayu. Stayunam Pataye Namaha. The Lord of such thieves. Usually they come in and they show lot of trustworthiness and become maybe a servant in your house or an accountant in your firm and gains your trust. Inside job. No, conman is totally different. Is vanchate probably, is a cheat. But this fellow gains your trust and then siphons away his retirement fund. It is an inside job. Stayu Nam Pataye, the lord of such Stayu. There is no other, what can I call him? Such thief. He is a lord. You cannot even call him traitor. Embezzlement, that's a good word. The one who is good at embezzlement is called Stayu, and he is the lord of them. Now, the Stena, Taskara, Vancha, Parivancha are all at a external level. It is the Stayu which is the most dangerous fellow. So, here our Vishnu Suri gives a very beautiful interpretation. Vishnu Suri Maharaj says here that in the, okay, let us first start with the simpler meaning. Vanchate, how is Lord called the one who cheats? Well, hasn't he cheated us that we are here where we are, trapped in this world, and many of us do not even know that we are trapped. That is how beautiful he has created this world, that we are cheated into being born away from our Atmananda. We are cheated away from our own Atma Sukha. And then we give him enough opportunities again and again to be cheated thoroughly. Therefore, he becomes Parivancha. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Even when we sit in Satsanga, it is called Purana Vairagya. And you sit in Satsanga, when you go through that 1 week spiritual retreat and camp and other things, you feel there is an inspiration. I should do something in my life and change. Enough is this. As soon as you wear your chappal and get out, what happens? There is no more that intensity that gets carried forward. The next list in your next item in your list for that day gets the priority. Now, what happens to the entire thing? It gets vanished. In one way, it is good. Why? I keep saying the same thing, you keep listening to the same thing, you keep forgetting the same thing. This can continue. See, Buddha as Siddhartha, how stupid an individual must he have been, that having reached even at the age of 25, 26, he had not known what is death, what is old age and what is sickness. Can you imagine a guy who has grown to 25, 26 year old without knowing these things? The naked truth of life. And suddenly he sees it one day. He may have been fooled for 25 years. But one day he sees all these three. And then what does he do? It hits him, the home run. It hits him so strong within. At that time he does not sit down to discuss. The intensity of that tapas is so strong that there is no sitting for discussion that, I don't know, I am little disturbed because of this death and, old age and sickness. Then you are taken to a shrink because you are disturbed by such things. But then it ignites that utteja within. And immediately he comes back, decides, he calls his charioteer and he says, "Chalo, mujhe jana hai." Father comes in way, mother comes in way, wife comes in way. And to make it even more melodramatic, pregnant wife comes. She was carrying. Nothing doing. Nobody can stop. He just jumps into the chariot, reaches one corner and he removes his hair and says, "No, go. I have to find this thing." Initial passion was good. He gave up everything and he tries every method that is there out in the world. For 14 long years he tries. And even then he doesn't find what he has started out searching for. And then one day he says, "Enough is enough. Well, either I find it now or never. Death or whatever may come, hunger, thirst, death, fear, I don't care. I have to achieve it now." That kind of intensity, when it is born, can get out of these cycles. Otherwise, vanchate, parivanchate. We keep giving opportunity for ourselves to be fooled again and again by this limited worldliness. Vanchate, parivanchate. Stayunam. See, this initial dispassion or wisdom is born, and where is that Lord seated? The Lord is seated, therefore you have that initial wisdom or dispassion, without whose presence there cannot be even that thought. Though He is so immediate, observes every one of these patterns as consciousness within. Can we grab? Can we catch hold? He escapes. Because the mode with which we are trying to find Him or catch Him is of a limited means, and He seems to be escaping constantly. Being there, right there with you all along, and yet out of grasp. And He probably is looking at us and saying, "Catch me if you can." And He keeps running away. Now comes the meaning of Vishnu Suri. He says, "Vanchate." Vanchate, we get deceived in the waking world. And that is not contained to the waking world. It permeates and percolates into the dream world as well. At least in the waking world you have certain sadhana. You have the Vedas, you have the Upanishads, you have the Guru, you have all these opportunities. In the dream world, we don't even have that. Vanchate, parivanchate. Stayunam, in the deep sleep, even the first two opportunities are completely knocked out. And that karanatva, deep sleep is called the karana sharira. That karana sharira which constantly keeps us away from our own true nature, enticing the worldliness as a dangling carrot in front of us, and we keep running after it. Pataye namaha, of the waking, dream and the deep sleep. Who is the Lord? He alone is the Lord. Who is the taskara? The ego is the taskara. The ego is the one who is constantly snatching us away. Vanchate, parivanchate and stayunam are the waking, dream and deep sleep. Taskara is the ego. And stena are the mind and organs of perception and action. They keep robbing, one little joy here, one little joy there, one from here, one from there. So how should the gradual progress be? First turn that stena. Make that stena as tena. That every single action that you do through the organs of perception, action and mind is for him alone. Taskara. Taskara, change it by doing satkara. Taskara, satkara. There is a English word for that when you shift the syllables and it gives exactly opposite meaning. Taskara is to rob, whereas satkara is to worship that divine in and through every experience wherein you don't give validity to that ego. And then vanchate, parivanchate and sthayunam. The other two worlds are not in our hand. The dream and deep sleep are not in our hand. What is in our hand? The waking world. If in this waking world we refuse to be cheated, where small little temporary joys that are thrown at us, and aim for, like Nachiketa aims for the highest. What a spirited young lad that he was. An inspiration for all of us. That Yama tests him from all possible angles. Lokeshana, Vitteshana, Putreshana. He gives him all kinds of possibilities. He says, you know what? Tell me if you can give me the third boon or not. Or else you keep your third boon with yourself. I don't care. But don't entice me with all these things. I don't care for them. Give me that Atma Vidya which I am asking. If that readiness is seen, how will that readiness come? When the organs of perception, action, the mind is under control. When the ahankara is punctured by constantly worshipping in every form, every being, everything, the presence of that divine. then we reach to a point wherein we focus only on that one aspect, that our entire waking world is filled with the thought of Atma Chintana. Then it automatically percolates into the dream and the deep sleep. There are great Mahatmas whose life has been a testimonial, like Sadashiva Brahmendra. He was sleeping on Kaveri river bed, and it was a very narrow path, and he was sleeping right in the middle. Usually when somebody is stretching their legs, you don't cross over, you go across. There was all bushes and other things. So this person who was trying to cross, he tapped him and he said, "Bhaiya, pav hataoge? Remove it. Can you pull your legs to one side?" So he said, "I'm too tired. Can you pick them up for me and throw them on the other side?" So he picks his legs up and throws them to the other side. And the person who picks him up and throws it to the other side, somewhere he just places the hand that touched him on his ears, and suddenly he hears a loud sound of Om Namah Shivaya. And he puts the other hand and he starts hearing it. Both hands, because they touched that Mahatma who was intoxicated and completely reveling in that mantra, that every pore of his being was speaking, chanting of the name of the Lord, that the one who touched him also carried that impact. He goes back to find him and he is nowhere to be seen. So in that little bank or the shore, he sees that there is the place that he was sleeping, wherein he had put the sand as a pillow and slept. So there he puts his hand and he feels the entire vibration of the Namasmarana. Whether they are in sleep or waking or whatever realm, there is constantly that unison with that divine within, as that divine. Vanchate parivanchate stayunam pataye namaha. Question answered? That's why I said you caught it right, but it had to be the next mantra as well before I could make the connection. Repeat the next mantra. Namo Nicherave Paricharaya Ranyanam Paricharaya Ranyanam Pataye Namo. Namo Nicherave Paricharaya Ranyanam Pataye Namo. I think that we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.